My name is Bonnie. I'm currently working as a biological researcher, and I've been in charge of a project examining bats for almost 2 years now. I was assigned to work at Raymond's Research Institute. Raymond was a great scientist who was also a master of genetic mutation. However, some of his research had not been accepted because it was immoral and too bizarre. I recently discovered a big secret about him that almost put my life in danger. At the time, I was helping Raymond on a project, learning about the traits of a South American blood-sucking bat, whose eyes were damaged as he fell off a cliff near the cave where it was living. At one time, Raymond joked about whether there were any ways to create vampires from these blood-sucking bats. I was shocked by it. Raymond claimed that there had already been a lot of evidence about these types of bats sucking blood from many animals, and some of them turned more agile. Their strength and longevity were significantly increased. It amazes me to think where Raymond got this idea. A mutant bat that he had bought from the black market. The size of the bat was close to that of a man. He locked it inside a dark room and fed it rabbits, goats, even cows every day. Raymond began to study these bat genes. He wanted to combine them with human ones. Raymond said that if he could create a serum that allowed people to become stronger and live longer, then it might be worth a try. When I heard his idea, I thought to myself, it does sound interesting, but I had a bad feeling about him. Was Raymond's project really intended to be what he said it was? But the fact that he'd been raising a giant bat and feeding it daily was becoming more and more frightening. After some time, Raymond called me one day to come to his lab. He told me he'd successfully created a capsule that could cure cancer from the mutant bat. Needless to say, I was extremely curious and immediately went to the lab. When I arrived at Raymond's room, the door was unlocked. I pushed it open and went inside, but Raymond only stood there and smiled. He said that the drug was successfully tested on guinea pigs, and he was going to test it on himself. He wanted me to witness this wonderful moment with him. He told me that the drug would heal his damaged eye, as well as extending his life expectancy. Raymond laughed horrifically, then put the capsule in his mouth. A few seconds later, his face changed color. He collapsed and screamed in pain. I panicked when I saw what was happening to him. Raymond suddenly became insane. He rushed over to the bags of blood, which were already prepared, and drank them, his face looking terrified, like a monster. He looked in my eyes with a desperate gaze, and in a fraction of a second, he rushed me, grabbed my neck, pinning me to the floor. I tried pushing him away, but he was extremely strong. He tried to bite my neck. He had turned into a crazy madman. At that moment, I saw a syringe right next to me. I reached for it and stabbed it into his neck. He jerked back, screaming fiercely. I suddenly realized that the syringe that I had just stabbed into his neck was the drug he was working on. On the tube, these words were written: Experiment Trial 85, fail. It fell on the ground when Raymond accidentally dropped the box. My mind was becoming dizzy, and I couldn't figure out why I had this feeling. But as I look back, Another syringe was being stabbed into my thigh. I pulled it out and just held it in my hand, seeing the line saying, "Experiment 101 failed." My whole body started to ache badly. Then I heard the call of a security guard. After, I fell asleep, knowing nothing. After being in a coma for 3 days, I woke up and saw the police. They were next to me at my side, asking me if I felt good enough to answer some questions related to Dr. Raymond. They told me that Raymond was on the list of suspects that caused many deaths in the city in the past few days. The victims' blood was all sucked from their body as they died. Raymond's fingerprints were left on the victim's neck at the scene of the crime. I was so horrified. Did Raymond succeed with his experiments? Or did he lie about working on an anti-cancer drug, but secretly created one to help him to become a vampire?